Okay, on today's episode of Soul City Underground, we'll talk about how this room was built, what's special about this room, all the ins and outs, hopefully. It's going to be more or less a slideshow, but we'll talk about how we got here, kind of an origin story, right? There's a periodic table. What's your favorite element? Mine is the element of surprise. There's an old 50s IBM clock. Got to focus on it. Sorry. Autographed Apollo 15, I think. Hamshack. Toolboxes. Schedule, which needs filled out. Big light. Pile of dirt. Bicycles. Long-suffering air conditioning unit. And it's mostly going to be a slideshow, so I'll just introduce myself. So my name is Kevin, and I call this Soul City Underground. The reason I call it that, because years ago, millions of years ago, probably in the 90s, there was a college radio station here in the town where I live in, and they said they had an advertisement on it. You know, they always have these audio advertisements, and it was Southern Culture on the Skids, if you're familiar with that band. And they said, anytime I go down to Chattanooga, Soul City, you know, I always stop by Chattanooga State, which was the radio station. So anyhow, so that's where I got Soul City. So that's where we are underground. Here we go on the slides. Tonight on Soul City Underground, we are going to show the transformation of the Crawlspace from a junk storage room to a working electronics laboratory / ham radio shack / Friday night project bunker. The original idea was just to dig more flat space under the house to throw stuff, but the room took on a life of its own, and now the basement has become a place for repairing and using vintage tech, monitoring the entire electromagnetic spectrum, and building fun, science-based projects with friends. You've entered the underground. Chapter 1, The Big Dig and Pour. So this is a before picture of the Crawlspace, and basically it's a dirt floor with a vapor barrier, with some weightlifting pads, with everything I could throw down there that wouldn't rot or rust too much. Here's another view from a different angle. Started cleaning some of the stuff out, looks like. Still, you can see the dirt piled up on one end. And this is dirt I'd actually thrown up there when I first bought the house, and I was trying to level out the spot you saw earlier. So there's no exits in this room. So you have to either truck the dirt out on a wheelbarrow through 2 carpeted rooms and up some steps to outside, or move it around inside there. So I picked the latter. Then this summer, my neighbor Cameron did some work for me outside, some landscaping work, and I asked Cameron if he felt like digging. And Cameron felt like digging, and he helped me dig some of the basement out. So there is the pile of dirt that we worked on. We call this the elephant's foot, sort of like the melted nuclear reactor at Chernobyl. You can see the air conditioner is on top of dirt, right, the HVAC unit. And this is what we worked on. So we had to wheelbarrow this out, pile by pile, and typically each load of dirt probably weighed close to 200 pounds. We might get, I don't know, 20 wheelbarrows out an hour and had to roll them through the house. This was a whole lot of no fun. There's some more digging. There's one of the wheelbarrows. We had 2 wheelbarrows that worked out well. Carried the dirt outside up that ramp, threw it on that plastic sheeting. Hopefully it would slide down the hill. Didn't slide very often. And that was the exit point for all the dirt. You can see some of the dirt there. There's some of the padding put on the carpet to try to keep the dirt from going into the carpet when it fell off. I had to go through 3 doorways. One was very tight. Knuckle buster, hit the wall, dirt would fall off into the carpet. And after it was all over, I actually ran a carpet cleaner and got about 7 buckets of mud water out of the carpet. There's one of them right there. And then I ran out of detergent, so I stopped there. I could probably keep going and keep pulling mud out to this day. More pictures of dirt. Spent a lot of time looking at that. More pictures of dirt on the outside of the house. This entire project took actually about a month to dig it out until we poured concrete. There's some more flat land. You can see how much flat land there was compared to the original area that I had, marked for stuff. The problem was in our irrational exuberance, we went a little too deep next to one of the footings holding the house up. And at that point, had to make some decisions. So this next slide, I think, shows it. So underneath the yellow level there, you can see went below the footing, right? You're not supposed to do that. There's pressure on the wall from outside, from dirt, kind of like a retaining wall. The house is on a hill. And that pressure's coming in, and I talked to some buddies of mine who are engineers, and they said, yeah, you got to put a bench footing, right? So I had to stack concrete up in there. So once it became clear that I had to put concrete in the basement, then the whole dynamic changed. So there was 3 areas in the basement I want to repair before this project with concrete, and they'll show up here in a minute. So that was the driver for the pour, digging too deep. Should change slides here in a second. Okay, there's one of the areas I wanted to cover with concrete. These are hydraulic jacks that are kind of holding the front porch up when I first moved here. There's 2 of these, and there's the other one. The other one's not as bad. They're kind of washing out, so I want to bury those in concrete. Also, this lintel, which is underneath the garage, was washing out, and I didn't like that at all. So the whole goal here was to get concrete underneath that. So I had 4 things I had to concrete. There's another view of the lintel in that room back there. That's not the elephant's foot. That's the back storage room. Okay, here's the connecting tunnel, we'll call it, between the main room and the storage room in the crawl space. You can see the hydraulic jack there. You can see the lintel in the back. I did put waterproofing material on the block, which on the other side of that's a finished basement. All this stuff was per, Crawlspace Ninja specs. So it was all about waterproofing material and vapor barrier, and you'll see some of that in a minute. There's a drain that was in the corner of the basement, and I kind of worked on this, extended it, put the PVC, 4-inch PVC pipe out the hole goes outside, and this was going to be for the dehumidifier, right? So if you have a crawl space, the only thing that makes it tenable is having a dehumidifier and maintaining 50 to 60% humidity year-round down there to stop mold growth. So, and also I ran my ham radio antenna cable coaxial through it, which is great. There's gravel on top of the drain pipe. That goes back to that lintel. Right, hopefully the slide shows plain. Okay, there's a form for that area. I hope it works. We'll see what happens. There's a form for that area. We had to lift the AC off the ground. The AC is still off the ground. And here's the final form for the room. Okay, there's another picture. Let's talk about the AC for a second. So that got crazy. Onto the room flat, and the AC was on a hill of dirt, so we had to suspend it with cables from the rafters. Me and the guys pouring the concrete, and then they had 4 guys in there. We had to go down 4 inches more on the dirt that Cameron and I dug down, and we threw all the dirt back in that tunnel where the lintel is. Make sure you keep notes if you're playing along at home on all the stuff. So the air conditioner's swinging in the air. When I first moved it, it started swinging out from the wall, and the guys helping me grabbed it. Hold down, slow down, hold on, and we had to tie it to the wall. So crazy. It's still in the air. Okay, more forms. This is a retaining wall we built here. I want to come back to that in a minute. Okay, there's the plastic I put down, 20 millimeter thick plastic. I did the whole room. That's just the first part. You can go bananas on this plastic. You can go Hall of Mirrors on it. Okay, this is when the concrete came in. That's the pipe. And this is the retaining wall. Okay, I'm trying to stop the slides real quick for a second. So these are the forms for the hydraulic and the lintel. You can see the plastic on the left wall trying to keep the water out of the finished basement. The dirt's higher than it used to be. It used to be when I walked in there to climb up over there where you see the sledgehammer way back, you had to jump up 5 feet. Now it's not. So a lot of dirt was thrown in there. Okay, there's the pour. So those guys did a fantastic job on this. Fantastic job. They did all those walls. They poured it up. There's a few areas I have a little bit of complaints with, but this is definitely an A job. The areas I have complaints with are, it could have been smoother underneath the air conditioner. I think we forgot to smooth it underneath the air conditioner. It's kind of rough. The water drains down to the water heater. That's the low spot. It was lower, so we should have dug the whole room even lower. And then if it goes to the water heater, it goes out into the carpeted basement. We should have kind of aimed it towards that back drain, but oh well. And the little skinny wall there at the bottom of the screen, that could have been bigger, and I do fix that with more concrete later on. You'll see that. But other than that, great job. Okay, they cut the grooves here. There's Gamma. He's the man and his buddy. They did a hell of a job. And there's the poured, fresh, clean, sweet concrete. You can see the walls aren't painted. The grid pattern, I picked that grid pattern out myself. There's that lintel area, so hopefully the garage won't fall down. There's a hydraulic jack, Austin Manana. And there's the other hydraulic jack. So that helped. That dirt was kind of shifting. And then there's that retaining wall, and I had a heck of a time getting that board out. Finished product, looks like a spaceship landing area. Okay, here's the infrastructure build out. Let me pause there for questions. No questions, let's go. All right, so here's my joke of the day. This is Loxon paint I put on the wall. I did most of the painting. I had a little help on the south side, but the reason they call it Loxon is because it locks on to your lungs. More Loxon, I put the pegboard up. Loxon makes it a lot brighter. Okay, the room's brighter. You can see the dirt at the far end. More dirt, more brightness. Looks good. Never be that clean again. Beautiful. I think it's a wide angle view, but that's a nice view. Okay, there's the dirt back in the area. Oh, I want to talk about this rock here. Okay, you guys see that rock? I'm going to pause. So it's not a rock, it's concrete left over from the pour, and it weighed about 1 million pounds. And we were getting ready to dig that dirt down up top. Me and a buddy named Fred, you'll see Fred in a minute. And I had to get a pneumatic hammer and try to chisel that down so I could move it. And finally, I just flopped it all the way to the end of the room, into the tunnel. But I mean, if it wasn't 400, 600 pounds, I don't know what it was. What a nightmare. Several nightmares occurred. There's that rock. That's after I chiseled the pieces off of it. You see, I try to make it lighter. Drug it down there. So if you look at the far end of this picture, that's where the rock went. That was a fun night. Okay, this is the concrete form behind the retainer wall. And there's a sledgehammer that I hit my thumb with and busted my thumb. And what a great injury that was. Long story short, the cuticle came out on top of the thumbnail, right, for about, 4 weeks, 6 weeks. And anytime you used your thumb, you'd hit an 11 on the pain scale, right? I mean, So in a given day, you hit your thumb 15 to 20 times, just ringing the 11 bell. That was great. So I smashed my thumb on that board, but I did get the board out and poured concrete behind it because I want it bigger. I put some blocks down behind it, put more concrete behind it, and we smoothed it out there. So now instead of 8 inches, that retaining wall is 16 inches. It touches the other wall. It's nice. Okay. All right, there's Fred. Fred was helping me dig. We dug that elephant's foot down even lower. There's some more. That's the unpainted other room back in there, but there's a good shot. Used to be, again, this side, the hill on the left, you had to put your feet on the right wall where the white is and lift yourself up because it was 5 feet deep. Now it's full of dirt. And hopefully the 20 millimeter vapor barrier and the waterproofing I put on the wall will keep any moisture from going into the finished basement. More dirt, pictures. Okay, here's the 20 mil vapor barrier. Can't live without this. Talk to Crawlspace Ninja. There's my steps, my free steps I got off from somebody on Facebook Marketplace. Thank you. There's what it's all about right there. If you have any type of crawl space, you have to have a dehumidifier. You have to maintain your crawl space between 50 and 60% humidity. 50 is better, right? Otherwise, you grow mold. And I've been living in this house for a long time, and I could, see spots of mold on the rafters. I never thought it was moldy down here, but when we were doing this, after we poured the concrete, I definitely saw 75% humidity. So, long story short, get a dehumidifier and also seal your vents, your crawl space vents. We'll come up to that in a second. Okay, there's my dehumidifier drain, so you can see the plastic pipe going in there. Okay, there's a crawl space vent. This one here, I don't have a picture. I put a fan on it, ventilation fan, so it blows air out of the basement. It blows, they call it, I don't know what they call it, crawl space air, in case you got radon. I've tested for radon before. I didn't see any, but test for radon. And ammonia and stuff like that. So you have to, I think it's required, you have to have a fan blown out. So one vent in the basement has a fan, and it runs most of the time in the summer. There's a sealed vent. So this is one of the crawl space vents. I got the 2-inch foam board, and I squirted the foam around it, and I also shoved a cinder block behind it. So there's 10 of those things, 9 or 10 of those things. That was fun on a ladder. This is the other room, which was all trashed out, where I put all my stuff. This is where I store all my stuff that was in the initial pictures that's ugly. I don't use paint. It all went on that. Swedish shelving. Okay, this is the other room cleaned up. There's a Swedish shelving. There's the ladders and all that. It's nice. That's where I put all my junk. Bicycles were in here. Put hooks in for the bicycles. I need to ride them more. There's a rack for junk. There's my periodic table delivered from eBay. I still got it. Love it. There's my calendar. Tells me what to do every day. Need to fill it in. I think one is, make videos, right? Read. Don't read your phone. Read. Exercise, of course. Exercise more. Make money. And have fun, I guess. I don't know. All right, so it was cold in the basement, and you see the hole in the trunk line up there. That was going to the bathroom. The bathroom had 2 heater vents or AC vents in it. I disconnected one, and I'm blowing it down to the basement. Helps a little bit. It's still, like right now, it's 65 degrees in there, which is good. It's probably 45, 50 outside. There's a vent. There's looking down from the bathroom into the basement. That's where all my money went. I bought some toolboxes off Facebook Marketplace, and they were a little dirty, so I had to pressure wash them. And now they're clean and beautiful. So here's the toolboxes. Here's the original table I had. This table came with the house in 2003. It's made out of treated wood. I put all my junk on it. It was 11 feet long. I can't remember, maybe 32 or 36 inches wide. Heavy as heck. I didn't like sitting at a treated wood table all the time, right? I'm tired because I bring my cereal down here. I don't want to eat cereal on treated wood. So eventually built another table, but that's the original one. Okay, this is an outlet picture. I did put, you see the outlet on the wall there. I did end up putting 3 outlets on the wall. 2 of them are 20 amp lines, which is great, right? 20 amps better than 15 amp. If you do this in your own house, look for yellow wire. I mean, turn your power off. Really don't do it in your own house. But if you like me and you want to juice down here, you put the yellow wire into an outlet, cut it in, splice it in, use electrical box, try to do everything to code. So I got 3 outlets in here on that wall, and 2 are 20 amp and one's 15 amp. That's a 15 amp. I needed to extend that, so there's the extension. So one outlet is above the table, the new table, and one's below it. There it is, installed. Beautiful. All right, Hamshack. This is fun. So my significant other, also known as the 11, gave me that set of shelves on her own. She didn't want to keep them. She didn't want me to steal them, so she gave them to me. Long story. There they are with all the ham radio equipment on it. And so for what it's worth, from the top down, there's a power supply, 12-volt power supply on the top, which feeds the radio below it, which is a 2-meter Radio Shack radio. I think it's probably 2005. The thing on the left's a Bearcat scanner. It's probably early 2000s. The thing on the first shelf there is a Kenwood transceiver from 1998, right? The speaker, power supply, and transceiver. And the next thing down there is the Hallicrafters, the black thing with silver on it, and the speaker. Those are from 1950, so none of this stuff's new, but it works, and it's fun to listen to. So you can talk on 2 of these things, and you can see what's going on. All right, there's an on-off switch I'm going to use for an antenna sometime. There's a Kenwood, again, 1998, nice little radio. There's a scanner, just doing detail for all you guys that like this stuff. And there's a 2-meter. And the 2-meter, and I'll show it in a second, goes to a disc cone antenna in the back. So that's how I ran all my, and that's a ladder line there. That's been replaced with LM400 coax. So coming in currently in the dehumidifier drain, I've got 2 ham radio coaxes and they call it a long wire. And they're grounded. We'll see that in a minute. All right, here's how they are grounded. So they come out of that tube, the wires do, and then it's on the left, by that rock's been cleaned up, but that's the dehumidifier drain on the outside of the house. And there's one of my 8-foot grounding rods. Let's talk about grounding rods for a second because it's big, and I still have some projects to do on this. So this is near the output of the dehumidifier drain. It's an 8-foot copper rod. You have to beat it into the ground, and your hands and wrists hurt for about 4 days after that. I beat 3 of these in recently, I think, since I lived here. One's near an antenna down the hill, one's here, one's in a different spot. None of them tied to the house ground yet, but I do have 115 feet of number 6 copper cable. As soon as it warms up, I'm going to connect all 3 of these to the house ground and be legit. But don't play with lightning. You will lose, because I got hit by lightning years ago, probably 2012, and it fried the Kenwood, and I had to send it back to Kenwood to fix, and it fried some other things. You don't win. This is a box, a NEMA box I put together. If you look at this real quick, there's a couple of lightning arresters. There's one on the top that goes to a 260-foot or 240-foot dipole, which is a wire hanging in the trees in the backyard. The bottom one goes to a disc cone antenna, lightning arrestor, and both of those go down to that ground wire you saw. The white thing is the lightning arrestor. I don't think it's working for the long wire. I need to fix that, and you can see the wires come in. So it's a nice clean install on that. I do have a YouTube video on that. There's the antenna that's hanging in the trees. It's miles of wire. It was no fun hanging in the tree. I didn't get it up very well. It's not very well done at all, but it's up off the ground. That's a disc cone antenna I bought. Now, there's HF, high frequency radio, then there's VHF, very high frequency, and UHF, ultra high frequency. The disc cones for the higher stuff, like that thing it's a good general purpose antenna. It's on a pole in the backyard. You can hear airplanes, you can hear weather, you can hear FM radio really well. The dipole, which is the wire, the big wire, is better for HF, which is longer wavelengths, right? So you have really whatever band you're listening to, you have to have an antenna cut for it. These are good, and I do have this disc cone and both the dipole feeding a software-defined radio, which is on your computer, and I can't recommend those enough. If you guys ever get a chance, get a SDR. They're cheap. Get some kind of cheap antenna, and then you can see all the shortwave you want on your computer. It's great. There is, if you look behind the birdhouse, you can see the disc cone up there. It's 16 feet up. There's the SDR radios, right? The bottom one's 30 or 40 bucks. It's a dongle. You have to have an antenna on the left side. The other one's more money. And those, I can hear everything I hear on the Kenwood or the 2-meter or the weather radio, the scanner. I can hear it all on the computer with this. There is the software. So let me pause this for a second. So this is the software from the SDR radio. That's FM. But you can see everything that spikes up. It's fantastic. Okay, table build. We talked earlier that I didn't like sitting at a treated wood table all day long and eating my cream of wheat or my oatmeal or peanut butter Captain Crunch or whatever. So I went to Lowe's. And that's the old table. And just for what's worth, let's take a look at it. Goodbye. I'm glad that thing's gone. There's the Lowe's trip. So my neighbor let me borrow his truck. And luckily that stuff didn't fall out. So thank God. I went at night, went about 10 miles an hour. It's a lot of wood. I had to cut it up. I had to notch it. I had to practice notching it. So I built that little thing there. That's my little mobile table. I put wheels on it. And I love that thing. It's like a satellite table. It kind of circles around the big table. I want to put a 12-foot battery on it and some type of motors and make it remote controlled to come to me when I call. It's on the list. I got good at notching here. You guys can see all the notches. This is a good skill. Okay, here's the table build. I want to point this out. I bought the plans off Etsy, and the guy didn't really show the detail in the middle here where these two boards overlap, right? But in his material list, he had, whatever this is, let's say it's 10 feet long, he had 2 5-foot boards cut. And so I just put some deck hangers on it. And then I emailed him, and he said, no, you notch it out and put the other one in it. I said, well, yo, dude, why did you tell me 2 5-foot boards? He never did respond. Still mad about that. The next scene, more of the table build. That was fun. I got that done with quick. That was like a 2-day deal, 2 to 3 day deal. And there's the boards on the bottom. They're beautiful. There's my long-suffering mother for reference on how big the table is. Looks like an aircraft carrier. And you see the other table in the background. And then we hauled that thing off. And my buddy Tim took it, whether he wanted to or not. There's my buddy Sea Dog. He helped me put the top of it on. Showing Sea Dog for size there. He helped me put the decking on the top and the bottom. Thank you, Sea Dog. And there's Ellie. Ellie's not bad. She said that's warmer than the concrete floor. There's Tim and Oliver. Tim's looking at my puck light install. We'll talk about that. I polyurethaned it per Sea Dog's suggestion, which was fantastic. It's beautiful. If you spill your cream of wheat, it wipes right up. Puck lights. If you don't have puck lights, you don't have anything, okay, in life. So there's the puck lights, and the table's ready for launch into orbit. And I had to put puck lights. Okay, that's a good scene. That's a good picture there. I also put puck lights in the ham stack over there. But come on, tell me that's beautiful. All right, I had to get some chairs. Right, I had to go to Nashville and get some chairs, and had to select the perfect chair from this pile of chairs here. These are actually drafting stools, and look what I got. I got the world's tallest drafting stool, and its little brother. Another picture of the puck lights. I'm trying to figure out what I'm trying to show here. I think this was a recent picture, so that's a scenario. Constantly watch the space shuttle fly overhead. Okay, so future projects. Let's talk about this. I kind of want to do 40 projects, and I didn't put all of them in pictures here, but this here is happening. Okay, I got another buddy. recapping, putting capacitors into my oscilloscope here. And my goal is I'm going to have ChatGPT as my comic foil on some YouTube videos. And when Chat talks, his lips are going to move on those green lines, right? I don't think it's going to be lips, but I want Chat to be verbal, talk out loud, and that thing flicker. And I think that'd be cool. Other projects include, I got to have this sooner rather than later. I'm freezing down here. So I got a Crawlspace entrance I want to seal off and put a Space 1999 door. And this Chat drew this up for me. So that's not that hard. I got to frame it, get some foam, paint it, and maybe buy an Etsy sticker. It'll be close. It probably won't be number 6. Other projects I wanted to do and film. This is just an old portable radio. It's got tubes in it, and if I recap it, which means replace the capacitors in it, it's an all-American 5 model. It has 5 tubes. I can get it playing again. That's just a solder job and order the right capacitor job. That should be, interesting enough. This puppy here is an old voltmeter, and what I want to do with this is I want to make it haunted, right? So people would argue, don't destroy anything from the past, right? I agree, but I'm going to take the guts out of it, and I don't think lights will come through those gauges. I'll try to put lights in it, but I'm going to put something in there, some type of powered thing that makes it meters flicker on their own at random intervals and just blow people's mind, especially my own if it works. I got a bunch of old toys I want to show and illustrate, right? So here's a 161 electronic project kit that I had in high school in 1983. And here's snap circuits. So maybe we can build a similar circuit on both of these, a radio, in 12 minutes. I won't belabor you guys with watching all that, but then compare them, right? So retro's fun. Speaking of retro, another buddy of mine, Darkness, my old friend, wants to build a model. So anyhow, you guys saw that model. Hang on, we'll come back to that. So like with glue, okay, that's gonna be a project. This is an all-sky camera build. So this is actually an astrophotography camera I have, and a Raspberry Pi I bought for this purpose. And I got to get a box, and I got to get a lens, and I got to figure out how to program the Raspberry Pi and get power to it. And what you do is you leave it out at night on a pole, and it beams. My goal was to beam the night sky down here on the computer or the living room TV, so I don't have to go outside to see the night sky. It's in my house, and I got to do that. I've been talking about that for years. Another project here. This is an Arcade 1-Up Asteroids Deluxe, bought from Costco in 2018. I want to put a Raspberry Pi in it and then play all the arcade ROMs, and you get tied into your controls, right? You have to have a joystick. I don't have a joystick. Anyhow, people do this constantly. It's easy. I just want to do that because I just want to get off the list. I do a lot of time. I spend a lot of time taking moon pictures. I can make a quick video on that. That's my 5-inch refractor, and we can take a moon picture and probably broadcast that pretty quick. I do that constantly. Another project I want to do, hey, this is my attic, and that's where my TV antenna is. And if you guys don't do this, you're losing money if you're paying for cable anymore in the year of our Lord 2026. Put your antenna up in your roof and hook your cable box to it, and you get channels on all your TV in your house. Anyhow, that's not what I do. That experiment's done. My whole house is, and all your houses too, is full of telephone wire when you had a landline, right? So I wanted to connect to that and connect it to some radios and TVs and see if you can do anything with the landline in your house, 2 stories, whatever, and see if you can pick up anything with it. You should be able to, but I don't know. Another project I want to do is a couple things here. This is a DirecTV dish. It's too small for satellite, like a weather satellite. It's too small of a dish for that, but you can hook it to something, and you can see heat, and you might be able to see the microwaves leaking out of your microwave in your kitchen. So I'm going to put this together and work that out. And I think you can see the sun. You might be able to see Jupiter. There's not much you can do with that, but I want to get a bigger dish and see a weather satellite, just like my man, Save It for Parts, my hero. I'm gonna put a car battery on this, put some kind of motor on it, remote control, drive around the basement. Stay tuned. I want to have an episode on radiation, right? I try to stay away from radiation, and I'm not going to test anything that's radioactive, but we can go through, you know, what the specs are, what you should avoid, what things are radioactive, like bananas are radioactive, potassium. But I've got a few things I can show, some Cold War stuff. Other projects, here's my mom's book collection. This is kind of funny here. I mean, we could spend 12 to 18 minutes on glow-in-the-dark paint, right? I got stuff that seems to glow and I turn the lights off, and some of the stuff's old. So is the old glow-in-the-dark paint better than new glow-in-the-dark paint? Is it toxic? What's the chemical it's made out of? How long does it last? Why not? Easy. Pirate radio stations, okay. On this thing, so this is SDR, and you can do a lot with SDR, software-defined radio. If you buy different antennas, you can hear different things. You can hear, I think you can hear meteors as they come into the atmosphere. Occasionally there's pirate radio stations, which are guys on unauthorized transmitters. Typically they're in the 6950 range, and a lot of times they'll send you, you can decode pictures from radio waves. They'll send you a QSL card, like a picture of like Richard Nixon coming off an airplane with peace signs, and they'll say Wolverine radio, right? You can find it on the internet. So we can do a lot with SDR. And a few other things here. This is a signal generator on the left. I want to see if SDR picks it up. This is I forget what it is, a 20 megahertz radio antenna. It's good for Wi-Fi. I want to see if I can do anything with that. I may hook a Geiger counter up to that meter at the bottom. Stuff like that. I got 40 things I want to do, at least. Got them written down. All right, so that's the basement. Thanks for watching this. Now it's February, and it's time to start putting these on film. Please like, subscribe, and follow up for more. Thank you.